For most new filmmakers, editing a film is as easy as dropping footage into an editing application and cutting everything together. While modern NLEs have lots of functionality to do not only editing, but also sound mixing and color grading, using a dedicated application can yield much better results. That's where workflows come in.
New, interesting, random, tall guy films.
A workflow is the process your data as a filmmaker, both audio and video, will travel between being recorded and distributed. This video is to talk about the workflow I used in my film Kansas Sunshine. I will go into more detail about each step in my post-production process, but this is simply an overview of everything I did. I mentioned in my last video about the technical choices I made for my short film that I converted the 4K files from my Lumix G7 to high-quality 1080p files. Once this was done, I brought everything into Adobe Premiere Pro where my workflow centers around. The first step of my workflow, very simply, was to edit my film. I did this without concern for the color balance of the footage or the audio levels in my sound mix. This was simply to get the actual edit of the film finished. It was important to focus on the edit since I only had about 4 days to edit most of the film, and having it all edited was more important than having only some of the scenes edited, but with good sound. Once I had the film edited, it was time to go into other applications to finish up the film. For VFX, I used After Effects, for sound mixing I used Audition, and for color grading I used DaVinci Resolve. Let's start by talking about the VFX process. I started by going through my timeline in Premiere and making a list of any shots that needed visual effects. This mostly included stabilization with one scene that needed a color key. I then imported all of the clips using the original files and did any VFX the shots needed. After that, I simply rendered out all the finished clips as 1080p files and replaced the clips in my Premiere edit with the finished VFX clips. I could have used Adobe's Dynamic Link Server to go between Premiere and After Effects, however that would have created issues when I sent my edit to Resolve for grading. The next step in my process was the sound mix. Unlike with the VFX, I did use Dynamic Link Server when going into Audition. This gave me the entire edited audio sequence as a multi-track sequence in Audition, each individual clip and a video file to help match audio to video. Any audio transitions used in Premiere were also converted to crossfades in Audition. After I finished my audio mixing, I exported my entire file as a single audio file. The next process was color grading. For the grading, I created a new sequence in Premiere and copied the video files from my original edit to the new sequence. I then flattened the edit as much as possible to remove extra video layers before creating an XML file. I then imported the XML file to Resolve and did all my grading. Once the grading was finished, I exported the entire graded sequence as a 1080p DNxHR file. From there it was time to put everything together. I created a third sequence in Premiere and imported the audio file I created in Audition and the video file I created in Resolve and combined them in the new sequence. I also added a letterbox, all the titles in the film, and the credit sequence. From there, I simply rendered out the final film. My workflow for this film certainly was complex, however it enabled me to fairly easily move between all the applications I used without trouble. The workflow was also very fast and I was able to go through the entire post-production process in only 4 days. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If not, feel free to hit the dislike button. If you have any questions about my upcoming short film or anything I mentioned in this video, feel free to leave a comment, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe.